and welcome to So Easy. Today, just a quick and simple project. This would be great for a hostess gift. For example, if you hear that you're going around a friend's house for some Christmas drinks, then you can take a few of these little coasters or something with you, or just throw them around on your tables at home and give your home a bit of a wintry or festive feel. So you'll need some Christmas or winter themed fabrics. I found that darker colours and things that aren't too busy are going to look best. I had originally done one of the coasters, and you see it in this Christmas print, and it was a little bit busy. The snowflake itself doesn't show up very well, so I think once I use some of these more plainer and darker prints, it's going to look a bit nicer. You need your template. You can download that from So Easy. You'll also need some white felt for your snowflakes, and some of this heat and bond fusible web, or any other brand like a Wonder Under. You can also make the coaster with a felt backing instead of fabric, and if you want to do that, then pick some fabric in some festive colours. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing you'll need to do is get your template. You can see it's got 3 different snowflakes on there that you can cut out. This one is the simplest, so if you've only got great big scissors like mine, then that one is easier. These ones obviously are a little bit more complex, and you want some really nice sharp small bladed scissors to cut these more complicated ones. It also has the template for the coaster itself, and you can make this in fabric or in felt. So you want to start first of all with your fusible web. Cut yourself some small pieces. It comes with like a bumpy shiny side, which is the glue, and the other side, which is the paper. So if you put the paper side down over on top, face up on top of your template, and then use a marking pen. I'm using one of these fine Sharpies, and you can trace through until you've traced the snowflakes onto your fusible web. And then if you cut yourself a piece of the white felt, and you just stick it with the paper side up, so obviously the sticky side is facing the felt, and if we take this over to the iron, I'm just going to press this without any steam, and it's going to fuse this little template onto my piece of felt. Once you have your little templates fused onto your felt, then you just leave them to cool for a minute or two, and get your scissors, and then you can just cut around the template using those lines as a guide, and it makes it nice and easy. Obviously I'm cutting the larger one here with my larger scissors. I really must get myself some much smaller pointed scissors, and that will help me cut out those other smaller ones. Now while you're doing it, if the edge of the paper starts to come off on the areas that you've cut, you don't have to worry about that, because that's just the paper coming away a little bit on the edges. The fusible is going to still stay onto the felt, so don't worry if it starts like this one here. If the paper starts to just come away a little bit, that doesn't matter. You can just keep on going, and I'll join you back here in a few minutes once I've got my snowflakes all cut out. So I've cut out my snowflakes. I managed quite easily even with my big clunky scissors, so I think you'll be fine cutting out even these more intricate ones. So now we can set these to one side, because we're going to use those later on, and we need to cut the background for our snowflake coaster. So I'm just going to go back to the template file and cut out this hexagonal piece just here. If you're going to make your backing in fabric, then you need to cut on the outer line. If you're going to make it in felt, then it doesn't need a seam allowance, so you can cut on the inner dotted line. But I'm going to do a little bit of both. So once you've got your template cut out, you use this piece to cut 2 pieces of your Christmassy fabric. Once your pieces of fabric are cut, join them right sides together and sew around 5 of these sides with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and leave one side open because we're going to use that to turn it right side out. So once my hexagon is sewn on the 5 sides, I then just trimmed off a little bit at the point where I've pivoted with the sewing, just trimmed off a little bit there, and now I'm going to turn this inside out, and I'll turn it all the way inside out, give it a little poke into those corners to try and make them nice and crisp. They should turn out nicely, seeing we've trimmed them, and then I'll give it a press, and while I'm doing that, I'll turn these raw edges in and press those too, so that I get a nice hexagon shape. So here it is, already turned and pressed, and I'm now going to take this back over to the sewing machine and just sew a little line of top stitching all the way around it, around 1/8 of an inch, so quite close to the edge. And as I do that, that will close up this little gap that I've got here, and then my little coaster, the backing for it, will be completed. So now the little coaster backing is completed, I just need to take the paper backing off of my snowflake. And the snowflake also has 6 points, the same as the coaster does, so we can just line it up so that the points point to the corners of the coaster. And then if I take this back over to the iron, just give it a quick press with the iron, and that will fuse that felt in place on the coaster. So now let's see what they look like if we make it with a felt background. It's going to be a lot quicker and easier for sure. We don't got any fabric to sew and trim, so this really will be a no-sew project on a sewing site. Those always make me laugh. So I'm just cutting off the seam allowances, then I'm going to use my template to just cut out a piece of felt, and I'm going to make sure I try and do it as neatly as possible so that I get nice neat edges to it. So that worked really easily with the rotary cutter. It did make nice neat corners and things. So now I'm just going to take the paper off of this one, and then I'll take this over and fuse that in place. Actually, I think that looks really nice with the plain bright background with the little white snowflake on. That's really quite eye-catching. So I mean, these are nice, but they may look nice on a solid fabric, but on the felt it looks really good. So I think I'm going to fuse that in place and then cut some more fabric to just use my last snowflake, and we'll take a look at the finished ones. So here's our coaster set finished. You can go on and make as many as you like. Obviously, if you want to make them all matching or something, you can do too. And I think they make lovely just drop around coasters for your home festive season, or great to parcel them up, put a little bit of ribbon around and take them out for you for dinner as a nice hostess gift. So thank you very much for following along with the tutorial. It's so easy. Hope to see you over at the site again soon.